Hey everyone, Cahlen here, and a viewer sent me a donation of a gift card and also asked a question. Well, basically requested that if I come across information in the future about how to naturally deal with farsightedness, where you can see far in the distance but you need glasses in order to read things close up, if I came across information which basically was a way to deal with that. Now, I've made several videos about myopia, which is the opposite, nearsightedness, where you can see things close up but you can't see them far away. And basically the summary there is nearsightedness is caused by, in most cases, by reading things close up for long periods of time. Your muscle has to tense up to change the lens shape of your eye to get the light going into the right place when it's close up. It's a tensing motion, and when you do that for a long period of time, it basically kind of makes that muscle spasm, which can lead to you having nearsightedness to a little bit of a degree. And then you go in to get glasses, and it's actually the glasses, you can only go up to like maybe -1 diopters or 1.5 diopters, worst case scenario, from that muscle spasm. But that will cause you to go to the doctor and get glasses, and then the glasses cause a feedback loop over many years, where you continually get worse and worse into a point where which would never naturally occur, right? People can become eventually basically almost blind without glasses, and that is done by glasses. So anyways, there's lots of ways to solve that problem, but you can check out my other videos by searching myopia on my website, cahlen.org. So basically I don't have farsightedness, and I don't know of a really good source of information about where to, like, natural ways to solve this, but it's not something that I personally have to worry about right now, although maybe I will in the future. It's kind of the thing I've been kind of waiting to investigate. And but you know, this is a good motivation. I want to be of help to the person who donated to me, and so I did some research today, and here's what I basically discovered. So farsightedness is, there's certain types of farsightedness, and I'm going to talk about the one specifically where you generally get it as you get older. And it happens because this lens, which the muscle changes the shape of the lens, and in order to read close up, the muscle has to, you know, kind of flex pretty hard. Now, as you get older, the lens gets stiffer, and so it takes more effort to change the shape of the lens. And also, just as you get older, your muscles get weaker, right? Especially if you're not, like, for example, if you start using farsighted glasses, then that muscle has to do less work, and so you started using it because that muscle and the muscle was getting weak and the lens was getting stiff, and so you started wearing the glasses, and now the muscle is going to get even weaker because you're not challenging the muscle, right? It's important to, you know, stress things out to keep them in good shape. And so basically, you know, I would say be careful about relying on glasses for solving the problem. If you're still in a very low level thing, I would say keep stressing out your eyes to keep them strong. And basically a tip that I came across that sounded promising to me was basically, when you are going to go and read something, bring the thing really close, right? Kind of stress your eye out for a second with having to strain to see close, and then bring it a little bit farther away and just kind of read at that point. And so it's kind of like a way to work out your muscles anytime that you sit down to read something. So it's like kind of developing a little bit of a habit. So as for like other things that you can do, basically the most promising natural-ish type situation that I found was, so the lens gets basically, as the body gets older, lots of different things kind of clog up the system. The body generates substances which it can't get rid of, which have no purpose and take up space and make things sticky. And that's kind of one of the major reasons for aging. And so this is something similar that's happening in the lens. And science research has found that alpha lipoic acid, or lipoic acid, basically can permeate into this part of the eye just through using kind of eye drops and things like this. And it is an antioxidant, and oxidative stress is what causes these buildups of things in your eye that would make the lens more stiff. And so basically it's an antioxidant for the eye, so it could be a really good preventative thing, but also lipoic acid seems to break down these structures which have been built over time. So it may be preventative, and it also may be able to walk you back to a better place. But there's not a whole lot of research on that. Basically, it's an idea that people have had, and there was a couple of studies where people tested it, and there were positive results. And it's gonna be safe. So I would say it's probably not something you have to worry about. Lipoic acid is a safe substance. It's very healthy, and you just have to find a way to put it into a solution which could work as an eye drop, which is not going to be irritating to your eye, right? Which will be well received. So that would be something you have to look into. If I start to get farsightedness, that's probably where I would look, right? And actually, it may even be wise, like I said, to do it preventative, because the antioxidant will prevent you from getting to that place, as soon in your life. But it is kind of also just a natural. I personally think that aging, we think of it as normal, but it doesn't necessarily need to be. So that's why I'm hesitant to call it natural. But in this current world and understanding of humanity, this is part of the natural aging process. So anyways, I think those are two promising avenues to go down. You can also go down the which I call the butchery route, which is basically getting LASIK, and they can they're more advanced nowadays, and they can solve farsightedness in certain situations, and they're like carving your lens into certain shapes and stuff now. So, if that's what you want to do, but I personally am not interested in doing that. I don't think it's a really good idea. And if you look into it, I think you'll discover it's maybe not a good idea. So, but, to each his own. I do know people who have gotten LASIK who, even though they experience the downsides of it, they still don't regret getting it, right? It's nice to not need to wear glasses. But anyways, so by the way, with the myopia stuff, if you're like most people, right, who wear glasses, at least the younger side of things, it's because you can't see very far without them. This can be solved naturally just through changing your habits of how you use your lenses and things like that. So you can look in, for those of you who have that, you can look into Jake Steiner. endmyopia.org is his website, and he's got a podcast and lots of videos on YouTube, so just check him out if you're interested in solving that problem. I have been working on that for a period of time, and I have dropped down, I think, at least a diopter at this point. I haven't been keeping track, and I've been doing it for a couple of years at this point, but I basically have walked back quite a few prescriptions at this point. I can see pretty much perfectly into the far distance with these lower prescriptions, right? They tell us that it doesn't ever go backwards, but that's not true, right? They're trying to sell you glasses, right? They're not looking out for your best interest. So anyways, that's best I can do for the farsightedness. If anyone has information about that, I'm definitely interested to hear about it. You can let us know in the comments. I think actually I don't know where this person watches the videos, so, but Odyssey seems to be the most active commenting place. So if you're the person and you want to see if anyone has any comments, Odyssey is probably the place to look. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider sharing it. If you'd like to help me out in a more substantial way, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/gift. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, whether publicly or privately, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/one-on-one. Thanks again for watching.